The room was quiet, filled with the soft clicking of keyboards and the low hum of computer screens. Suddenly, a loud gasp broke the silence. Everyone turned to look. Sarah Kensington, the company's top analyst, stood frozen at the door of the boardroom. Her eyes were wide, staring in disbelief. On the whiteboard, a young black man in a janitor's uniform was writing so fast it was hard to keep up. His hand moved like lightning, covering the board with numbers, formulas, and symbols. People leaned forward in their chairs. Something big was happening. The $200 million problem that had thrown the whole company into panic was being solved right in front of their eyes. Sarah didn't move. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Who was he? Why was he even in the boardroom? And more importantly, how did someone like him fix what the smartest people in the company couldn't? Malik Carter wasn't supposed to be anywhere near that boardroom. He was just the janitor's son, the quiet teenager who sat alone in the break room while his mom cleaned floors all night. Every evening, while others rushed home, Malik stayed behind with a stack of books and a worn-out notebook. He wasn't messing around on his phone or playing games. He was studying finance, algorithms, anything he could find. The break room became his classroom, and numbers were his favorite subject. But no one paid attention to the kid in the background. To them, he was invisible. Until today. The day everything changed. The day he walked past an open door and saw a room full of panicked adults struggling with something he understood instantly. While most kids his age were watching TV or scrolling on their phones, Malik was diving deep into numbers. Finance books, trading manuals, algorithm guides, he read them all. He didn't need a fancy classroom or a teacher. He taught himself, line by line, night after night. His mind worked differently. When others saw chaos, Malik saw patterns. Numbers weren't scary. They were like music to him. Every formula had a rhythm. Every problem had a beat. He could see things others missed. But because he wore janitor's clothes and stayed quiet, no one noticed. Not even Sarah Kensington, who passed him dozens of times. To them, he was just the cleaner's kid. But in truth, he was a hidden genius, quietly waiting for the world to finally see him. The office had never felt this tense. Phones rang non-stop, alarms beeped, and worried voices filled the air. Something had gone terribly wrong. A small error in the company's trading software had exploded into a full-blown disaster. Money was vanishing by the second, millions turning into losses with each passing minute. Panic was everywhere. Top managers shouted into phones, analysts frantically typed on keyboards, and the pressure kept growing. Sarah Kensington, the firm's lead analyst, stood at the center of it all. Her face was pale. After hours of trying to stop the damage, she finally gave up. "It's no use," she said. "The system's broken." Everyone fell silent, unsure of what to do next. Then, just as hope started to fade, someone unexpected appeared near the boardroom door. It wasn't a trader or a tech expert. It was Malik, calm, curious, and quietly staring at the numbers on the screen. Malik didn't ask for permission. He just knew what he saw, and he knew how to fix it. While everyone stared at the screen in shock, he walked straight into the boardroom, picked up a marker, and started writing on the whiteboard. His hands moved fast. Numbers, symbols, and codes flew across the board. At first, no one understood what was happening. Then, Sarah Kensington noticed him. Her eyes narrowed. "Who let him in here?" she snapped. People turned toward Malik, unsure if they should stop him. But something about the way he worked kept them frozen. The numbers started making sense. Heads leaned in. Whispers filled the room. Someone gasped. Malik wasn't guessing. He was solving. In seconds, the boardroom full of confusion and fear had shifted to something else, silent amazement. At first, people didn't know how to react. They had never seen anything like this. Malik, still in his janitor's uniform, kept filling the whiteboard with solutions. The CFO leaned forward, squinting at the numbers. A trader dropped his pen. Even the IT lead looked stunned. The room, once full of noise and panic, had gone completely silent. Slowly, the pieces started to fit together. Malik's math wasn't just smart, it was perfect. The code errors were vanishing, the losses were stopping, and the system was coming back to life. No one had expected this, not from someone like him. Sarah Kensington didn't say a word. She just stared, speechless. Malik stepped back from the board and looked around. The damage had been fixed. What the company's best minds couldn't do in hours, he had done in minutes. Just then, the boardroom doors swung open. Charles Kensington, the CEO himself, walked in with a serious look on his face. Everyone turned toward him, expecting anger. But he didn't yell. He didn't even look confused. Instead, he stared straight at Malik. Something in his eyes changed, like he recognized something others had missed. The room held its breath. No one knew what the CEO was about to say. Was Malik in trouble? Would he be kicked out? But instead of shouting, Charles asked a simple question. How did you do that? Malik stood tall and calm. He didn't stumble over his words or act nervous. Your system had a recursive loop, he explained. It kept repeating the same mistake over and over. I broke the cycle. The room stayed silent, trying to take it all in. But not everyone looked impressed. Sarah Kensington folded her arms and narrowed her eyes. He's just the janitor's son, she said coldly. You really trust him? Her words hung in the air, full of doubt. And just like that, the room's mood began to shift. Whispers started spreading through the room. Some people nodded, clearly impressed by Malik's skills. But others hesitated, unsure if they could trust someone who didn't have a fancy degree or title. Sarah Kensington's harsh words had planted a seed of doubt. Was Malik just lucky? Did he really know what he was doing? For a moment, it felt like everything might slip away from him. Maybe they would take his solution and then push him out like he was never there. Then, something no one expected happened. Charles Kensington, the CEO, stepped forward and held out his hand. Malik, you just saved this company $200 million, he said. How would you like a job? The entire room froze. For a second, no one even breathed. Then voices rose, shocked and amazed. Chairs scraped the floor as people stood up, clapping. Malik looked down at the CEO's hand and slowly reached out to shake it. Everything had just changed. Just a week later, Malik stood in his very own office. The nameplate on the door had his name. A shiny ID badge hung around his neck. He wasn't cleaning floors anymore. He was part of the company. His mom stood beside him, tears in her eyes, unable to believe it was real. Everyone who once walked past him without a glance now greeted him with respect. The same break room where he once studied in silence, now people stopped by just to hear what Malik had to say. Word spread fast across Wall Street. Everyone was talking about the young genius who fixed a $200 million mistake. Malik Carter, once just a janitor's son, had become a name people couldn't ignore. And Sarah Kensington, the woman who once looked down on him, was now the one bringing him coffee. Malik didn't just change his life, he changed how people saw talent, no matter where it came from.